is up, folks? Welcome to the latest episode of the Harold McBasketball Show. I'm your gracious host, as always, Harold McBasketball, along with my co-host, I Know Ball Paul, reporting from the future. How are you, man?
Doing great. The future is a bit dire. It's, no advancements in technology since yesterday, but, we're living in it and there's still reasons to be optimistic. But we're here to say welcome to the trade scenario video. Not much to say. We're just going over, the trade machine, coming up with some trade ideas. And you'll see that Harry's going to predict that Terry Rozier gets traded to the Heat for Kyle Lowry, and it literally happened today. And this is proof. It's not really proof, but what you're about
Yeah,
to see is
yeah.
is
Y'all see we're wearing different outfits, so clearly something's up. But yeah, the future came at us very fast. Where we recorded the episode last night talking about our trade ideas. One of them was Terry Rozier to the Heat, and then we're going to post that video either today or tomorrow. Then obviously that trade went through today, so now we need to talk about that trade again, and it's also messed up the old video. But we're still posting all of it because we had great takes in the trade video. So still watch that one. We'll talk about the trade before it happened, and then yeah, we'll be coming up with another video as well where we'll dive into the actual trade that transpired.
yes. I'm lost, but enjoy our trade scenarios and watch
Yes,
Harry
enjoy.
predict the trade that already happened. Sucks that we couldn't put it earlier, but
It's
enjoy,
fine. It is
guys.
what it is.
Cut to us. Cut to us in the past. Cut to us.
Yes, yes. Come on, come on. We're firing the intern. Get to the pass faster.
Come on, come on. Yes. So play along at home. Would you take this trade? Who says no?
Who
Um,
says no in the comments? Let us know.
yeah, it's a good game title. Who says no? Um, we've been using Fanspo. I found this site. I think a lot of people know about it, but it's dope. And there's even like a little kind of social aspect to it where people post their trades. Unfortunately, a lot of them I was like, well, what are you thinking?
It's a lot of fan fiction, so yeah, be
Yeah.
careful with that.
But it inspired some ideas for me. So I want you to go first. Tell me. Let me see who would say no in this scenario, or if I think it's a brilliant trade.
All right, so I'm gonna go with a player who I assume I'm not gonna assume anything, but he's definitely floating around in a lot of trade talks right now. You probably have one with him as well. It is DeJounte Murray to the Lakers. There's
Wow.
been a lot of talk of that right now. And also what happened in the deal. So DeJounte goes to the Lakers. The Hawks get the Lakers 2029 first round pick. And I have D'Lo in the move, but there have been talks of the Hawks like may not want D'Lo, so I had to get a third team involved. And I went with the Spurs. So the Spurs get D'Lo, and the Spurs also send Keldon Johnson to the Hawks. So it's Lakers get DeJounte, Hawks get Keldon Johnson, and 2029 first round pick. Spurs get D'Lo.
And that works salary wise.
They work salary wise.
I think Keldon did just maybe get his sophomore contract. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't see I guess the Hawks, maybe it's like, okay, we get Keldon Johnson, who I guess is a young, promising forward. He's been kind of not great so far this year, but um, they get the pick, obviously, the 2029. So in this scenario, are the Hawks what? Are they kind of giving up?
Yeah, and I think I think the Hawks have to give up on the season. I think that's fully what they intend to do at this point. So the idea is like you just get rid of DeJounte. You're bad this year. You tank a little bit, get a top 10 pick, and then see if you can get back someone who could develop into another defensive small forward. It feels like they always have these guys coming and going in the system, just never quite hit on them. Keldon Johnson could very much be another small forward that get into the system and don't hit on. But I don't mind the dart throw, and then obviously the 2029 Lakers pick is seem like it's going to be incredibly valuable because obviously at that point it's like LeBron's gone, Davis is probably also gone, so could potentially be like a top five pick.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see D'Angelo Russell, who is someone I've always enjoyed their game. I just like how he plays. I think he's got a swagger. Him and Wemby could be super cool. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I feel like the Spurs are a team where it's like not only are they kind of over the Keldon Johnson experiment, But I think they might also be over the Sohan at point guard experiment. So they get a good upgrade there. They get a way better passer who can actually feed the ball to Wemby. And yeah, they get to move off Keldon Johnson and maybe get some more touches then to Wemby and Devin Vassell, who is kind of being held back a little bit by Keldon, I think. So actually, I don't hate it for them. It was kind of weird trying to find a third team for D'Lo. I also considered the Magic,
Hmm.
but I just went with the Spurs here.
Yeah, and I feel like the Spurs are kind of in a situation where they're like, oh shit, Wemby is fucking even.
He's good now.
Yeah, and I think we all knew he'd be pretty good now, but somehow just seeing what he's doing, you're like, oh, okay, like you don't want to surround him with complete nothingness. You kind of want to start, I think, putting some good veteran players and playing good basketball now because I don't know, the stretch of games Wemby has been putting together. Um, I don't know, he's so skilled. I was watching a bit of the Sixers Spurs, and he hit like two back to back pull up threes after bringing the ball up. Like, yeah, no, I could go on about Wemby forever. I think
Yeah.
he's
And he's been doing it all in like 24 minutes a night also. So he's hardly playing, which makes sense. The Spurs are protecting their assets, tanking a little bit here, but he's also so good right now that it doesn't really make sense to do the traditional tank for 2 or 3 years, build up our assets, see what other stars who have to play next to him. Because he's literally so good now that's like capitalize, try to win now. Because you just have to ride this wave while you have it. It's like he's big, you never want to assume injuries. He seems to be great so far, but it's like you never know what's going to happen like 5, 6 years from now. But he's good now, and he's locked down in San Antonio. So I would try to be good now. It's like obviously you're tanking this season, but I'd want to be good next season, or at least building towards something more.
I actually saw Wemby live a few days ago when they were in town
Very cool.
with the Celtics. I just wanted to gaze at this man, and like everyone else is shooting around, and this guy is stretching, and his like an assistant coach is just hitting his arms and shit, and like I don't know, he's awesome to watch because he takes his I don't know, he takes it very seriously, and yeah, no, again, I could go on about Wemby. I was also gonna say though, Sohan is like kind of hoping he would be looking a bit better at this point in the season. He's obviously very young and known for being a very raw player, even coming out of Baylor, I think he went to.
Yep.
But it can be a tough watch with Sohan, and he has some great moments and plays, but he makes a lot of boneheaded decisions, and um, he looks awesome though. He looks cool.
It looks very cool. I definitely see a lot of you or not YouTube, like Twitter compilations of Sohan just like not passing to Wemby when he's like wide open under the hoop, and it's like, okay, this is kind of a problem. Looking at my trade again though, not to like I'm gonna poke holes in my own trade real quick because if we're doing this deal, it's like do the Hawks and the Spurs even need the Lakers in this deal? Like, who would the Spurs rather have, D'Lo or Dejounte? They could just get Dejounte back potentially, and then maybe they give the Hawks back just like one or two of their own picks plus Keldon, maybe without Keldon, maybe just give them back two of their first round picks, and they're like, we kind of fleeced you guys, but we'll give you a little bit of a do over. We'll give you like 70% credit here.
Yeah, yeah. Dejounte going back to San Antonio would be interesting, and
It'd be hilarious. It would literally just be like it'd be like a rental essentially. It'd be like where like the Spurs let the Hawks rent Dejounte for like 2 seasons, and in exchange they got two free first round picks.
yeah, no, I think both trades could be cool. I want D'Lo though. I want D'Lo.
Yeah, it's a little sexier, and I want shooters around Wemby. It's like I don't want someone who's gonna be I don't know because like you did kind of see it in Atlanta where like Dejounte does just have to be a little bit ball dominant. He's not this super traditional point guard. So I like the fit of D'Lo better, even if Dejounte in theory is the better player.
Man, Atlanta, I don't like if they end up kind of giving up on this Dejounte experiment, which by all accounts has been a failure at this point. But you start,
Seems
yeah,
very likely he's gone too.
but you wonder like where does this what does it do next? Trey Young, I think must be what, like 26, 27 now. Like he is in the prime of his career, and it's like hard to even think of how to build a team around him that would really compete. Um, but Jalen Johnson is awesome. I love Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson's incredible. He's been such a revelation for them, and it's kind of like saving them a little bit to where they do have like a little bit of light to a roster that they potentially could construct around Trey. Because if not for him, they'd literally be like, we have to scrap everything and start over. But they at least have him to where they've got another building block that makes sense. So obviously they're in a tough spot. It kind of sucks for them, but at least they have him. He's actually amazing.
Yeah, he's just a better version of John Collins. He's like everything you kind of wish John Collins was.
But it's so funny. It's like, yeah, he's literally just what they wanted John Collins to be. It was so perfect. And they must have known that when they moved John Collins. They must have been like, this guy's just going to give us the same thing. So that's because they did not get back very much for John Collins. I think they were essentially like, we just need to open up minutes for this other guy.
Yeah, all in all, yeah, I think your little edit there, just between Hawks and Spurs, would be interesting. Um, I wonder if the Hawks are super self-aware, or they just like are have dug themselves too deep into this to where they're just like, no, we got to keep Dejounte. I don't know. I think he's got a few years left on his contract, or maybe.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, it's like it sounds like he's the most likely player to be traded at the deadline. Like the Hawks sound like they're yeah, it's like the rumors are flying. I don't want to say they're like all in on moving him, but I would say it's more likely than not that he's gone by the deadline.
Yeah, I would not want to be a Hawks fan. That team gives me anxiety.
Yeah, dark times. It's tough. It's tough having like a star player and you just like can't build around him because it could be one of those things where like, 5 or 6 years from now, we're kind of looking back and it's like, wow, the Hawks really wasted the prime of Trey Young. Only made the playoffs like once or twice with him. So sad. So it's kind of going in that direction right now. We're
Well,
rooting for them, but
feels like Trey
it's
Young
tough.
might just be the problem. He's just way too high usage, way too small.
Yeah, dude. It just seems like a douche.
I don't. Maybe does he? He gives you bad vibes a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, yeah. I think he gives everyone bad vibes. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but yeah, no, that is the vibe I get. Like during we've been talking about the Hawks for way too long. We'll part two after this. But when DeJounte hit the game winner, like before, like he took the inbound pass and then Trey Young just throws his hands up and doesn't even get to half court. He like, just throws like a temper tantrum in the backcourt and then DeJounte takes it up and wins the game. And it's like Trey, like maybe like instead of throwing a temper tantrum, why don't you play offense and maybe DeJounte will pass it to you for a game winning three? Consider playing a little bit of off ball. How about that? And there's no way. So yeah, douche.
Get rid of Trey Young. Like they do have hope. This roster has hope. I mean, yeah, they'd be worse trading Trey Young, but Jalen Johnson, Bogdanovich.
You
Uh,
could get a haul for Trey Young, obviously, but I think he is just too good though. It's like you look at the stats, he's averaging like 30 points per game and 11 assists, and it's like a GM could just never consider trading that. That's like your job's gone if you do that.
but it's like Russell Westbrook in his like prime. I'd fucking trade him for like
I mean, hindsight's 2020, yeah.
hindsight's 2020, but like I think it's a similar deal with Trey Young. Anyway, we can part to it and talk about the Hawks more because I have also a trade proposal.
Ooh,
So
very nice. I also have another Hawks trade, so we'll see. More Hawks to come.
we're
Wow,
just going to talk
sucks
about
for
the
them.
Hawks.
They suck. Okay, deal.
What are you sipping?
We've got a unsweetened sparkling water with lemon. They're
Nice.
amazing and they're very hydrating. So yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, no beers today. It's a Monday.
This is true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
Anyway,
right, let's get back into the machine. That was my Hawks trade. You said you have a Hawks trade. I have another Hawks trade. So I guess we're just talking Hawks right now. Give me yours though.
okay. Mine would be a trade involving the Hawks and the Clippers.
Ooh.
The Hawks would trade Terrence Mann, PJ Tucker, and maybe some picks, or maybe Brandon Boston. I don't know if the Hawks are interested. Um, and the Hawks would trade Clint Capella, and that's it.
Hmm. I don't hate that. It's kind of the funny enough, it's like a similar essence to the early trade I had, which essentially Hawks move to tank. They get back a forward. Might be good, might not be. You're kind of just taking another shot at one of these guys, hoping it works out, hoping it's not another like DeAndre Hunter, which they seem to have gotten a million of. But I think it makes sense. I actually have a Clint Capella trade as well, and it's very similar, but with a different team.
Let's hear.
So I think it makes sense. I think the Clippers would definitely say yes to this with Zubats out. And I think it just makes them better. So if they can do this, like why not? And so you've got so many ball handlers now between Harden, PG, and Kawhi that I think the need for man has gone away, especially since they still have why am I blanking on his name? But comes off the bench, he's like an amazing sixth man for them.
Norman Powell or
Yeah, Norman Powell. Like they still have Norman Powell, so it's like all of a sudden like the role for man isn't really there anymore. So I think it makes sense for them. Um, if you're the Hawks, like yeah, you get back a young guy and man who's also not that old. He's kind of a Trojan horse from the Clippers, so I'm not sure if that return is quite good enough for them. But I think it's not bad. I think it'd be something to consider.
yeah, and Capella's kind of on the downswing. Like you know that he's only got a couple
Yeah,
years.
like I don't think his value is great at this point, and I think there's a lot of value in those like kind of like double shot blocking centers when they're I don't know when they're just a little bit better. Like when you're like Jalen Duren, it's like your value is through the roof, but it's not quite there with Capella to where I totally feel like they could move off Capella and just have a Kongwu start and essentially get the exact same production. So it's almost like they're getting Terrence Mann for free. So I do like it in that sense.
And then Harden reuniting with one of his most
That's true. That was
partners.
a dynamic pick and roll in Houston, which is definitely something they need because like Zubats has been good for them when he's been playing, but he's just a little bit he can be a little bit lethargic. So
Yeah.
I do think the change of pace with Capella would be good, even if Capella comes off the bench when Zubats is back. Because like Zubats was really good for them when he was playing, but I think it'd be good for them to have both options.
Him and yeah, Zubac and Harden have a nice little two-man game. Uh,
Zubats is sneaky, like really good. He's an
yes,
awesome player, and he's just huge.
massive. Yeah, I think he's all of 7'1" and a decent rim protector. He was on.
Yeah, he's just broad. Like he's built like he's like I don't know.
Yeah,
He's just like yeah. He's not like a he's definitely not like a tall lanky center.
that's for sure. No, yeah, he's got to be heavy and kind of just strong. Funny because he's been on Paul George's podcast recently,
Yeah,
and the voice does not match the body. Well, it's more like the accent doesn't match the body. He just sounds like American. Like
interesting.
he's got a deep ass voice.
That's so he does look very much as like a corn fed like Kansas guy. Like he reminds me a lot of he looks like a little bit like Zach Edey who plays for Purdue right now, who's like the 7-2 like college player of the year last year for them. Very similar vibes. So I think that actually checks out. Trivia: how much do you think Zubats weighs?
Um, I would guess like 290 to 290.
240.
That's a lie. That's a fucking lie.
That's what it says. I kind of agree because like there's no way this guy's like 30 pounds lighter than Zion. He's like 7 or 8 inches taller than Zion. He's just built like a brick wall. Like this dude's enormous. He always looks like the biggest guy on the court.
Yeah, I refuse that fact. I refuse that trivia. Yeah, Zubac, weigh yourself live. I wonder if they must just like weigh them on draft day and just never update it, but or maybe he is 240, maybe he has hollow bones, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy it.
I was
Anyway,
gonna
do you wanna? Oh, sorry. Go for it. Go for it.
I was just gonna kind of fight back a little bit on you saying he looks Midwestern. I feel like he just looks maybe I mean it's the last name too, but he just looks like Eastern European, and so does Edie or whatever. He looks like perfect.
Yeah. I think it's a good take. Yeah, because no, you're right. Like,
Not
yeah,
I
yeah. No, I think build wise, like he's kind of giving Midwest, but like yeah, it's like when they get like for some reason like the buzz cut every time I'm like Eastern Europe.
yeah. They all do have buzz cuts. That's
They just do it. They just do it, and it looks great.
he looks okay. But anywho. Hope you told
Do you
me
want to
he
hear?
was from
Do
Kansas.
you want, do you want to hear my Capella trade? Should we get this back on track?
Okay, but let us know in the comments if you would believe if he was Midwestern.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, my Capella trade is with the Warriors, who have said they're interested. And another like kind of similar theme to earlier, they get back Wiggins, who's he might be worthless now, but they're kind of just taking another dart throw to small forward, hoping he might be good. Maybe with more touches, he ends up being decent again. And I figure the Warriors would also throw in like a couple second round picks or something like that. They do also have their own first rounder in 2025, but I don't think they're giving up a first round pick for Capella. So I kind of said that wouldn't be in it. But if needed, they could pull that trigger. But I think most likely it'd probably be just like Wiggins, some picks.
Yeah, if the picks are intriguing enough, because I think Wiggins at this point isn't even a dart throw. He's a
It's
you're not
weird though, because
forward.
he was so good like a year ago. And, like what's tough about and you know what, this is why I had the first round pick there. Actually, now that I think about it, you might actually have to include it because Wiggins is only on the first year of his new extension. So he still has 3 years left after this, making 30 million each season. So like not only are you taking the dart throw with Wiggins, but you're also like running the risk, not really running the risk, you're kind of accepting the fact he's probably going to be a dead contract on your books for the next 3 years if he doesn't turn it around. So because he's a dead contract, for that you probably do need to include the first round pick. Let's say that. Let's say first round pick Wiggins for Capella.
Yeah, I don't know if I think that just screws the Hawks too much. But
Yeah,
if
I think
the
it's
pick
fair.
is intriguing enough, um, maybe because I think Capella would be just one more year after this, and he's on a reasonable contract. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's like 18 million a year or something like that.
yeah, 20 and a half, I think.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah. Yep, you're right. Yep, 20 and a half this season, up to 22 and a half next season, which is good value for a starting player at this point. Like it feels like the going rate now is probably around there, maybe more like 25 million. So that's a good deal. You're not trading for him and being like decent player, but contract doesn't make sense. Like he's still a good player and makes a lot of sense for a championship team that needs a center. So the Warriors are interested. I like the fit on the Warriors. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I think you're right that if the Hawks do want a quick rebuild, like trading for Wiggins is not the right play. Like if the Warriors want to get off Wiggins, they probably need to give him to a team that accepts that they're going to be very bad for the next couple of seasons. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't screw them. So they'd have to look at teams like the Pistons and the Wizards if they want to move off of Wiggins. Maybe that's a third team though. Maybe there's a third team in that trade.
yeah, I think maybe there's some potential there, but yeah, it's tough to see happening. The Warriors did go on record and say they are looking for a 7-footer with like tremendous skill or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we got one right here for you. Just pick them up off waivers. It's easy.
Yeah, that was a funny little moment. But
Yeah, I love those.
yeah, I mean, both of those teams are in rough shape, and yeah, it's not like totally implausible. Obviously, if the Hawks feel like they see something in Wiggins, and like you said, it's not too long ago he was an awesome role player. And Clint Capella, yeah, I mean, I can see why the Warriors would be interested there. Although he would also be kind of a weird fit because they're not super like pick and roll centric. And but hey, I mean, Clint Capella, like playing next to Harden, he's just down to do the dirty work and accept just getting boards and the occasional like spoon fed pass, and he's happy. So
Yeah, yeah, he'll never complain. Even he has only 2 shots during a game, so that's huge to have. Yeah, I think I think between the trades, I think I do like yours a little bit better. Like if I'm the front office for Atlanta and like I have to move Capella this deadline, which they don't have to. But let's say that they decide to move in that direction. I think you probably play it safe and you just take the Terrence Mann return, and then also just kind of see what you have out of a Kongwu because maybe that's also just like the second little boost you get in moving off of Capella.
sweet. Yeah, but you know, the Hawks should be trying to put something together and figure it out. So
Yeah, turn into a mini Hawks pod. Okay, give me another trade. Ideally not with the Hawks. Let's switch it
no,
up a little bit.
I'm out of Hawks trades. This is a Bulls trade. This one's kind of like my kind of crazy one, but at least I couldn't figure out why either team would say no. So maybe you can let me know. But It's between the Bulls and the Hornets. The Bulls trade Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. And the Bulls the Hornets trade Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, Mark Williams, and like a first round pick or a second round pick. The
Trade
rationale,
sucks.
the rationale is that the Bulls just kind of get rid of Zach LaVine's 4-year, 40 million contract. That just isn't going to work. Vucevic is on a nice deal, but it's kind of rebuild. Hayward only has a year left, so he's off the books. And then PJ Washington, not a super interesting prospect, but Mark Williams a bit. You don't like this trade? Who you think the Bulls could probably get way better of a return?
No, I don't think the Bulls get better return. I feel like it's wishful thinking for the Bulls to get back
Really?
real assets for these players.
Wow.
Yeah, I was waiting for a little while to try to figure out a trade for the Bulls, and ultimately I was like, I don't know like what teams would actually be like interested in these players they have. I just think they're all mids and on big contracts. I think you did well. I think this is probably the best trade that could be constructed um, for the Bulls to try to make a move. And it's not terrible because like the Hornets do get better if they run a lineup that then has LaMelo, LaVine, Vooch at center. But I don't know. The more I think about it, I do think it's a decent trade. But if we're doing the who says no, I'd be like, if I'm the Hornets, I say no
Hmm.
because I feel like it just puts them in the same situation the Bulls are right now, where it's like, all of their money just goes to these mid players that aren't that good. Like they're not all star caliber guys. And then it's like just like where do you go from there? And then on top of it, you're like losing a solid young player in Mark Williams, like, and you're giving up a first round pick. Like I don't know.
Maybe a second round pick in that case. I did actually have that same thought where I was like, oh, the Hornets would just become what the Bulls have been for the past 3 years by accepting this trade.
No one
But,
wants that.
it would be a flashy lineup with obviously, they would still have Terry Rozier, Brandon Miller. Like all of a sudden, they have some really nice assets to go with Melo, and they're kind of a flashy team, and I think are ready to make some noise. But um,
Yeah, I think it's a good take, and I hadn't really considered it. My brain had been thinking Hornets stay bad for another year or two because I don't see how you get better right now. But no, I do think you're right that like with like LaMelo, Rozier's really good. Is like Rozier's in trade talks right now. I have Rozier trade here actually, but I think he's been so good this year that it makes a ton of sense for them just to keep him and try to be good because he's legit been awesome. Bridges has been really valuable, so it's not a bad idea actually for them to try to pool together some of their assets to try to make a move that makes them better. Looking at this, I'm almost like, what if like LaVine was taken out of the deal and you're essentially just doing like Vooch for just like
PJ and
Hayward, Hayward Williams and a first, something like that. So it's like they kind of get that big upgrade at center. Someone who can probably play really well with LaMelo. You don't have the burden of the Zach LaVine contract. You don't clog your front court, so Terry Rozier can keep starting. Then you do move off Washington, which just makes it a little bit easier for them to play guys like Miller and Miles Bridges, who they're already playing a ton anyway, but kind of thins out the front court a little bit so they can play their guys.
yeah, contract wise, it might be difficult because Hayward is making like 32, I think, with 1 year left.
Yeah, I think the Bulls can make it work though. Maybe they throw in Patrick Williams. I don't know how they make the contracts work, but
Yeah,
maybe something like that.
I feel like LaVine and Lamelo would be kind of
Dude, they would set their defense on fire. A defense with LaMelo Ball, Zach
LaVine.
LaVine, and Vucevic would be fucking terrible.
Yeah. LaVine is an underrated defender.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is, people. Uh, Vujovic is not. Yeah, no, yeah, that defense would be awful. And yeah, like you said, a lot of offensive-minded players there for sure. Way too many offensive-minded players. So
Yeah, I do like where your head is at. My only other issue is like I know that Mark Williams has been injured for a lot of this season, but I'm kind of bullish on Mark Williams, and I do like the idea of him being the center for this Hornets team. Because a really good pick and roll player with LaMelo, really good lob threat, which Vujovic isn't. and he's a really good shot blocker, which Vucevic isn't. So I kind of think they're better off just keeping like this like defensive rebounding center lob threat versus like upgrading for like an offensive center who's not as good on defense.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a gamble. You don't really know if Mark Williams is going to be awesome or if he's going to stay healthy, but kind of like what I've seen from him.
Yeah, that's the trade. Let us know in the comments if you would say yes from either perspective, or which team would say no. So hit me with your Terry trade.
Yeah, this is my Hornets tank trade. This is like my Hornets say, or the Hornets say that, yeah, we got to get off some of these old guys. Let's go young. Let's be bad for a couple more years. And just see if we can get some more hits at the draft. So if they trade Terry Rozier, who's on an expiring contract right now anyway, on a really good deal, no guarantee he stays with Charlotte next year. Honestly, probably wouldn't. I think he wants to win. So you trade him to the Miami Heat. They trade over Kyle Lowry, who's terrible. He's starting them right now and averaging 2 points per game. He's just legitimately beyond washed right now. So they trade back Lowry as contract filler. And then the Heat also includes 2 first round picks, their 2024 pick and their 2026 first round pick. So you get 2 first round picks for Terry Rozier, who's an expiring contract right now. You take on Lowry, you're worse. The Heat get a lot better then because they get to start Rozier at point guard, which has been a black hole for them this season.
Yes.
And I like it for both teams, especially the Heat. Like it'd be an awesome move for the Heat.
Yeah, Rozier has looked so good this year, and he's a player we have always very much enjoyed as Celtics fans. And
Yeah, that Kemba Terry trade went downhill very quickly.
yes, strange times. Um, Terry though does have a year. He's on contract next year, and then a team option after that. So it's
Oh, I misspoke. I thought he was an expiring.
not from what I can tell.
No, I trust. I trust.
And
That's amazing. He's on a. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. So it is this season, one season after, and then yeah, I think you're right. Team contracts, and it's like super friendly deal too. He's making 23 million this year, 25 the following, 26 the next. He's having like a near all-star season right now. Besides the fact that the Hornets are just so terrible that they probably won't have an all-star this year, but he's been amazing. And if he goes to a good team, he will legitimately help them contend. He's been a great scorer, weirdly good rebounder for a guard, phenomenal 3 point shooter. So I don't know, but if he's got 3 years left, like maybe the Heat need to throw in like another first, or maybe they also need to throw in like Jaime Jaquez or something like that. But whatever they have to do to make it work, like something along those lines, I think would be really good for the Heat, and would help the Hornets rebuild a little bit.
Terry is so awesome. He is,
Dude, he's so good.
and I think he's maybe the best dressed NBA player. I love his fashion.
Definitely could be.
It's fun, it's loud, and he's got crazy swag. I was gonna say another thing. Yeah, just that he can be super kind of a bit ball dominant, but at the same time, like I remember him coming off the bench for the Celtics and he did his thing. He's just an incredible basketball player. He can adapt to be a third or fourth option and help any
Yeah,
team. I think Terry's just that kind of player.
yeah, and he totally played that third, not like third star, but like third player role for the Celtics. He's had to be a lot more ball dominant on this Hornets team because LaMelo's missed a ton of time, and the roster is a little bereft of talent at the moment. But like I said, he's an amazing 3 point shooter. So I think he'd go to the Heat and, just like make a ton of threes off of Butler. Butler's kind of been missing games too anyway. Same with Hero. So I think they do need someone who's just going to be healthy and play that starting guard for them, especially with how bad Lowry's been. So I don't know. I think it would obviously be like a home run for the Heat if they could do it. I think it still makes sense for the Hornets as well.
Yeah, no, I like that trade. Um,
Who
and
says no? Does anyone say no?
um, maybe I think if anything, the Hornets, considering Terry's kind of favorable contract, and at least I tend to think that they see themselves as kind of a good team that's been a bit unlucky with health, whereas in reality they're probably more just like not a very well built team at the moment. But um, I kind of see them not being as eager to tank as maybe this scenario suggests. But I like the trade. I think it's a plausible trade, and the Hornets maybe should consider kind of sucking for a couple years before.
Yeah,
LaMelo's
and
22.
yeah, and I think this is exactly what it's going to come down to. It's going to be, do the Hornets decide they're better off tanking, or do they want to, keep some of their players, try to be good within a year or two? Because Terry definitely is really good, and I think he's still a good fit next to LaMelo because he is such a good shooter. Doesn't hurt having two ball handlers. So and like you said, he's still on contract for another, you know, 2 seasons after this one. So kind of depends on the direction they want to go in, but I think it's a good option.
Yeah, Rozier would look awesome, I think, on
Oh, he
that.
would love
So,
Miami. He would be such a good fit there. Oh my God.
yeah,
The
Rozier,
tunnel
like,
would go crazy in Miami.
yeah, he seems like a Miami kind of guy. He seems like he's a that city would match his personality and that squad again because of the fit you mentioned. But the hero Bam kind of grit and grind mentality is Terry's vibe as well. So,
Yeah. All right, give me another trade.
all right, I think I have two trades left. Let me think. Okay, this one I'm very unsure about. I think it's not. Okay, let me just say it. It's between the Cavs and the Mavericks, Cavaliers and
Okay.
Mavericks. Um,
Ooh, I like where this is going.
okay. The Mavericks trade Grant Williams, Dante Exum, and a first round pick. And the Cavaliers trade Jarrett Allen. Now, I think the immediate reaction is definitely like Jarrett Allen is on a really favorable 3-year, $20 million contract. He's a great player. But I think that the forward depth that the Cavs would receive plus that future first round pick would make sense for the roster. I just have my doubts that, they'd be willing to give up Jarrett Allen like that. But um, I think Grant and Exum would be awesome fits as kind of like defensive minded forwards, which is like still such a hole on that Cavs team. Although they've looked a lot better recently. Thoughts?
They have been winning a lot of games recently, and Jared Allen has been absolutely phenomenal recently. Obviously, Mobley's out, so that gives him more opportunity to shine a little bit, but Allen's an amazing player, and he would be an amazing fit for the Mavs. They do have Lively, who they drafted to kind of be that like rebounding defensive pick and roll center, and he's been good. But obviously, the team gets dramatically better if they could add Jared Allen right now. So, from a Mavs perspective, love it. From a
Right.
Cavs perspective, it's not awful because it does feel like there is a bit of a logjam there at the center position. And I think at some point they probably need to decide to go like Allen full time center or Mobley full time center. Mobley's likely going to be the pick there since they drafted him as a top 5 pick just 2 seasons ago. So Allen would be the one that they would move if they did want to, kind of thin out their depth there, get deeper in other places. So I think it makes sense. My only critique would be that if I'm the Cavs, I feel like I could probably just get more from him though, just because Allen's been so good, and he was an All Star too. I think just like 2, maybe 3 seasons ago, but I do think he has one All Star appearance. Like he is like a borderline All Star player.
I don't think so, but maybe I'm
Let me
wrong.
fact check. Let's see.
It does actually now start to ring a bell.
Let's see. He does have one appearance. It was in,
Oh,
let's see, 2022. Yeah, he was named for the All Star game. I think it was likely by someone else being injured and him kind of coming in a reserve role, but he did make it. Like he is like this like near All Star caliber player who the Cavs absolutely swindled also in that like Nets deal where they kind of like hopped in as a third team to take on Jared Allen. Um, yeah, no,
well,
he's really good. I kind of feel like they get like 2 or 3 first round picks for Jared
what
Allen.
what was that deal? That like
I think it was the Harden deal. I think it was the Harden deal that sent
oh,
James Harden from Houston to Brooklyn, and like Brooklyn essentially just like need like a third team to take on salary. So like the Cavs essentially just got Jared Allen for free. Maybe they got him for like a first round pick or something. Um, but total steal. Like he's been amazing, and he was still really good for the Nets at that time. So it was a total steal at the time, and remains the case.
he's 25 years old.
Yeah, he's really good. So I think if they did want to move him, I think they
Yeah.
could get like 2 or 3 first, especially considering how good his contract is right now.
I think I was a little bit too in the Mavericks really need a rim protector wishful thinking of um yeah, and Exum and Grant Williams. Um as much as I like them as players, not a ton of potential there, but um
Yeah, yeah. Like Grant's like a nice villain, but I think they still do probably need like at least like one more first round pick from the Mavs, which I'm not sure if they even have
have.
available because I know they're pretty low on assets at the moment.
Yeah, man, Jared Allen would look awesome on that Mavericks
The
team.
team would be sick though. That no, that he'd be a perfect fit for that Mavericks team. Like they would be amazing.
But I don't know. I weirdly think the Caps would also kind of get better in the moment. Um, because I don't know, their forward situation is so dire. Niang is just not an athletic, capable defender. Um, like as a wing, and then Struess is also a bit undersized. It's just they desperately
Yeah,
need
yeah.
some
It's yeah. And
defense.
Struce had like a hot start to the year, but he's cooling off a little bit now. He doesn't really give you much beyond just being like a shooter out there, which is good to have, but it's like not it's not moving the needle a ton for them.
Yeah. And Grant and Exum are on like extremely favorable deals.
Well,
Grant,
well yeah. I mean, of course, Exabates. He just came from playing in the Euro League for like 3 seasons.
but 2 years, 3 million, for
Wow, what a deal.
I'm over it. Yeah, not a great trade, and we realize these things live on the air.
I
Running,
love the idea though, and like it's a good idea. Just like pitch it because it's just cool. Like
yeah,
sometimes we come up with these trades just because they're cool. And like you are right that like one, like Jared Allen would be awesome on the Mavs, and like two, that the Cavs probably do need to move Jared Allen at some point. So like the idea is like right there. It's just like the capital just probably isn't quite there for it to be accepted, but so many trades get pitched without being accepted. Like the odds of a trade actually going through is really low.
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And it's the effort and the thought that counts, and that's I think what I brought to the table. So give me your next trade.
All right, my next one. This one also involves the Mavericks. Let's stay with them.
Oh, we've kind of like really done a nice.
Yeah, because I think it's pretty evident like which teams probably need trades and which teams kind of like, and for players who have been made available on the market, like what landing spots would make the most sense. I am kind of surprised there's been so much overlap. Like I think with every trade we've at least had like one team in common, which is kind of cool. But yeah, my Mavs trade is so the Mavericks get Kyle Kuzma to slide into that power forward spot or small forward, wherever they want to put him. And the Wizards get Hardaway, who's good. They could probably trade for another first round pick potentially. He's also just contract filler. Kleber, and then 2025 Mavs first and 2025 Raptors second round pick, which could be like a higher second round pick.
Yeah, my immediate reaction is that they could maybe get more for Kuzma,
Can they? Probably. I think they potentially could, but
a trade involving Kuzma. But no, I mean I love Kuzma, and I would love that fit on the Mavericks. Um, what's his contract like? I think
I think it's pretty good. I think
he's
it's like
25.
4 years, 100 million ish. So I think he makes about 25 million a year, which is definitely a great deal for his services. And obviously, he's like this perfect fit with the Mavs, where they get better at the forward position, where they are really weak, and like Grant's been decent for them, but obviously Kuzma would be a big upgrade. He gives them shooting off of um, Kyrie and Luca, and they also just get another option on offense, which they don't totally need because Kyrie and Luca are so good, but definitely doesn't hurt, especially like if one of them is like missing a game.
I just feel like they could get more for Kuzma. I love Kyle Kuzma. So
Yeah, yeah, you might be right. I think what the Wizards were asking for was like 2 to 3 first round picks for Kuzma. Three felt like it might be a little bit much. Two, I think would have been optimal, but the Mavs just don't have two to give up. So I guess kind of the idea was like, yeah, you get Hardaway, who's like maybe equivalent of a first round pick. Not really, but maybe you get like a third team involved. We'll take him, give like a late first or something over to the Wizards. Like maybe there's something there, but I think you're probably right that there probably is a team out there who does want a big wing that would be willing to cop up 3 first round picks for him.
yeah, I think Kuzma is a very, very valuable asset to
Yeah,
have.
great shooter too. And like that's huge.
Yeah, he does everything super well. So, but yeah, like Jarrett Allen, he would be an excellent fit on that Mavs team, who still feel like they just need some kind of great role player to complement those two stars. But
Yeah, the starting lineup still feels really thin. And it's like Luca and Kyrie are amazing. And Lively's given them really good minutes. And Hardaway has actually also been really good for them. And as Sean shouted out, like he might be leading the sixth man of the year race now. Like he's been incredible for them. But it does feel like the forward depth is just like almost nothing right now. And they just need another guy.
definitely, yeah, yeah. Grant
But
has
it's
been disappointing.
yeah. And what I say is like obviously they're like really good as they are right now. But if they were to get like that one more guy, like they could like legitimately get into that like championship potential tier if they could acquire someone like that. So like that's why it's like that's why we're dying to make these Mavs trades work. Because if they can just figure something out, like they're as good as anybody else.
Yeah, yeah. Luca and Kyrie are so special, obviously, but like they just have it, and you just need to,
Yeah, they're so unstoppable. And they've played together so well this year.
yeah, both super fun to watch. And my insane Kyrie MVP take, which was so out of pocket and bad for just like a couple weeks there where Luca was out, it felt like I redeemed maybe like 10% of it, which, still there's just no way in hell that was ever going to happen. But the point is, Kyrie was playing out of his mind. So,
Yeah, and good hot take. And like Kyrie is like that caliber of player. Like
yeah,
if he was like running the show on an offense, like if he wasn't next to Luca, like he probably would be working his way into the MVP conversation. He's just that incredible.
yeah,
And he does everything. Like his stats are always insane.
yeah. I root for the Mavs, but, you know, the roster is still, I mean, it's what we've been saying all along. That the roster outside of those two is struggling, and so far they've made it work pretty well. But like, yeah, Lively starting in a playoff series is not, I think, the ideal situation. He's 19 years old.
Yeah, it's a little wishful. He's still very young, but I do like the potential.
How many trades do you have left?
I've got one left, so we could try to wrap them up quickly if you think it's
Sure.
feasible.
I have two. Do I care to say both of them? I think I can ignore this
So,
one.
give me your better one right now. I'll give you mine, and if there's time, you can kind of throw out your final one.
Okay, this is a three-team trade. Uh,
Cool.
okay, strap in. Um, so I'm gonna say who everyone receives because that's what I have the picture of.
Okay.
Uh, the Pacers get Kuzma and
Another
Daniel
Kuzma
House
deal.
Jr.
Love it.
The 76ers get Buddy Hield and Aaron Nesmith. And the Wizards get Marcus Morris Sr., Korkmaz, and two first-round picks. And I think after having that discussion about the Mavericks and Wizards trade, maybe the Wizards are not getting enough return there for Kuzma, but two first-round picks next year via the Pacers and 76ers.
Two firsts is pretty good though. I think it's a step up. Like maybe they'd want one more, but I think it's a decent deal for them. And then for the Sixers, it's like they get some more shooting in Heald and Neesmith. Like Neesmith has been a great shooter this year, so like they're definitely still like getting stuff, and they're essentially just giving up one first round pick and salary filler for that, which I think is fair. And then Pacers essentially giving up a first rounder, Heald, Neesmith, and they're getting Kuzma, which would be unreal for them. And that starting lineup would be insane if it was like Halliburton, Kuzma, Siakam, and Turner. So I do like it. I think it makes sense. It's like obviously like three team deals are really hard to like get everybody to agree on, but I think it makes sense. Like I don't think anyone is like absolutely not with this deal. I like it, and obviously I love it for the Pacers.
Yeah, you feel like they now want their big three to come together, and Kuzma would be such an ideal fit there.
Yeah,
Six,
exactly. And like, yeah, and Turner's amazing, but it kind of feels like he's not quite good enough to be a part of a big three. So it does feel like they probably need one more guy to at least kind of make like a pseudo big three between like Halliburton, Siakam, and then like Turner plus one other player kind of gives them their pseudo big three.
exactly.
And just to get them more scoring too, because I feel like they do need a little bit more scoring now. Because although Siakam and Turner are really good, like they're not quite like bona fide like 20 points per game plus kind of guys.
for sure. And then yeah, the Sixers get some wings, some scoring wings, which always pair nicely um, next to a duo like Embiid and Maxi. And the Wizards get picks. Maybe they'd get an extra pick in there as well, but it's just a couple expiring contracts and some first round picks. Why not?
I like it. I like it. I'm in. I think it's awesome. It'd be great for the league.
All right, love it.
Free Kuzma also. Like I would love to get Kuzma onto a better team to see him compete in the playoffs. Because he is like a very valuable contributor, and the Wizards are just like such a waste for him right now, especially because they're just like so many years away from being competitive.
He did it to himself though. Like he kind of did it to himself.
Yeah, yeah, which is weird because like obviously like they paid him, like they didn't pay him that much. Like I feel like there are other teams that would have given him that.
Agreed. You want to give me your last one? We have 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I can do. We'll do a quick reaction.
Yeah.
So this one, a little bit of a blockbuster. It's the Thunder get Larry Markkinen,
Whoa.
and in exchange, the Jazz get Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, and 4 first-round picks.
Say it again. Lori, just Lori?
Just Laurie going to the Thunder, and the Jazz get Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, and 4 first-round picks. And the Jazz have like all the picks right now. So if you need to include another first rounder, sure. They need 10 second rounders, sure.
Yeah, yeah. The Thunder have all the picks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
exactly. That's what I meant.
Fuck, I mean, I love it. Shit.
I know, dude. The Thunder would be so goddamn good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. And they can just kind of throw their picks and love Lori slash Lowry. I always forget which one it is, but um him, Chet, J Dub, who I fucking love, Shea, Giddy, we no longer love or accept.
Yeah,
Even though his
exactly. So
game
we
is
get
so
him out
good,
of there.
you know, be a great fit in Utah.
Absolutely be a great fit in
Culture.
Utah. And like it kind of like gives Giddy a chance to have like a bigger role again. And then if the Jazz are over him, they could trade him for like probably another first round pick still. So he's at least like still a valuable asset. Same with Dort. They could probably trade Dort also for more picks, even if it's just like second rounders. And Martin is on an amazing contract right now. He makes 17 million this year, 18 million next year. So really good value contract right there for the Thunder, who still have young guys. They could potentially still re-sign him and be okay.
I love it. I wish I could because yeah, Jazz would go full tank and um, maybe include Taylor Horton Tucker in the deal because he deserves more minutes. They are screwing my man, but we have
He's
like
not getting more minutes on the Thunder. Like that's not happening.
come on, there's some bench role there that I think he can. But anyway, we have like 30 seconds. So just thank you for watching. Those are the trade ideas, the trade reactions to Pistons, Wizards, and Raptors, Pacers. Thank you for all the love and support, the comments, the shares. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, fans. Make sure to get into the comments. Let us know if you do these trades or not. Let us know your favorite. Thank you again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.